Fasting restores a natural normal. 30. Fasting aids in the prevention of diseases. We saw that one yesterday. People who fast, they get the first aid of preventing some diseases. 31. Fasting restores the intestinal tract and restore it into the normal shape and prevents colitis. Basically, colitis is a kind of inflammation. It's kind of enlargement in your colon, your big intestine. And frequently you feel the pain inside there, and sometimes you can even begin to produce poop with blood. This blood is not produced because a blood vessel is broken. Normally bloods come out when you cut yourself or you break a blood vessel. But the big intestines can have an inflammation, an enlargement. And when wasted food is passing through there, it breaks that small caffeine layer, and you can produce poo mixed with blood. Or sometimes when you go to poo, you feel that much pain, yet it's supposed to be so easier. To the doctors, they will tell you take soft foods. They will take Irish potatoes mashed. Or some bananas. But fasting is the best. Because that food will all be consumed by the body and the thing will go back to normal. 32. Fasting restores a natural normal appetite when the fat is broken properly. So it is very, very important to understand that. Appetite is also very, very important in our lives. Because when you eat and don't enjoy what you are eating, your body also does not receive the nutrients. Appetite has something to do with your mind. And when you see the food on that, tomorrow we're having a P7 Livers party. I think they're preparing a number of types of foods. When you look at it, the tongue begins to produce saliva. The salivary gland begin to produce. So you are even swallowing saliva before you eat the food. So appetite is very important. Era abantu abatalina appetite ate eri ewaffe gye tubadde mu bazungu, before they give you the real course, they give you something to bring appetite. So they call it the appetizer. Wakubanze mu America appetizer sigiria. In America I don't take those appetizers. Bw'ogirya ogenda okugimaliriza nga tolina ate w'oteeka mmere. When you eat it, by the time you finish it, you have nowhere to place it. Kuba nayo yennyini mmere. Because itself is food. Bakubeebamu obuntu busupu mushroom simanyi buki obwo. By the time you finish ku African setting. So for me, I don't eat appetizers. I say, no, don't give me appetizers. I need food. I have enough appetite, actually. So we saw that yesterday, 33. We stopped on 35, but I want to take you back a little bit. 33. Thin people may many times overwork their body organs by overeating, and hence they need to fast. Ekyo nakinyonjole nti abantu abatono ate balina problem olw'okuba batono. They eat too much to get fat. By eating too much, they overwork the tongue, they overwork the stomach, they overwork the pancreas, they overwork the liver, they overwork the small intestines, they overwork the big intestines, they overwork the anus, so they deserve to fast.
because they are fighting to get fat.
Nakinywedde nti abatono ate batendinga okulya ennyo kubanga balya.
Ate abatono babi nnyo.
And they are very bad.
Oba balya nnyo mu bubagejje.
Because they eat a lot that they may grow fat.
Ne batamanya nti bali kulya nnyo, they are still overworking the digestive system to get the fat.
Eating too much, they overwork the digestive
system. So ogenda okutuuka to the tender part of the mwali musaze ku nkoko ne mujjamu enkoko nkulu.
Have you ever slaughtered the chicken and get that gizzard from it?
Olaba akantu ako kobembula ku boti nga kalinga cell tape.
You see the membrane that you remove from the gizzard.
Ako ke kabeera ku side z'olubuto obutafuna acids naye ke kajjula n'ebimere ne kagaga nga bulabi bibeera wano ku macyango ozuukuse.
But that's the kind of membrane that is in our stomachs.
Kaba kajjudde ebimere ebigazze.
It is always full of spoiled food.
So that's why you need, nga bwe tugenda mu dental, for kati nze bangamba every 6 months I must go to the dental to clean my teeth.
Bangamba nti buli myezi mukaaga nnogenda nnongosa amannyo gange.
Actually, I'm going there in the next 1 month.
Era mwezi ogujja ngenda.
Because however much I'm brushing, still in 4-5 months the yellowish begin to pile even when you are brushing every after meal.
Newankubadde ensenya buli kaseera era oluvannyuma lw'ebbanga amannyo gajjako ebya yellow.
Simanyi lwaki.
I don't know why.
So the same way is the stomach.
Olubuto bwe lutyo.
So abantu abatono mwetaaga okusiiba ennyo because
people you also need to fast.
Mulya nnyo mbu mugejje.
Because you eat a lot so that you may grow fat.
Kakati mukulya ennyo.
So in that way of eating too much.
Ate munoona system yonna.
You just spoil the whole system.
Okay, we saw that then 34. 34. Fasting is a normalizing agent which helps to prevent the excesses of overweight to the overweight people. Kakati n'abantu abanene,
even the overweight people,
okusiiba tekubayambako okureducinga some kilos.
Fasting helps them to reduce some kilos.
Obanga obadde 99 n'oreducingayo 3 n'odda ku 96.
If you are 99, you reduce 3 and you go to 96.
That's why we say it is a normalizing agent. It normalizes. Kati nze I'm trying to shed off 11 kilograms that I gained in 27 days in USA. And I don't want to weigh myself until Monday. So Monday I'm going to a weighing scale. Wali ku scrap, waliwo mizani epima awo ku scrap awo. Mujimanyi eri awo epima. Yeah, kutupimira scrap. Eno nene gy'olinnyako bwoti n'epima digito nekulaga nti oli bwezi ewe n'epimira. I am a normal person. Sirina special. Waliwo ndemwe mugende mwepime tupimirawo scrap ate gwe tulina scrap nawe genda weepime. Olinnyako buli nnyingi ekulaga kirozo tewali akusasuza namara genda weepime. Iri awo scrap awo ngenda okwepimira ku Mande. Tuyinza okugenda twepima fembi.
Nze nina eyange eka.
Si nnungi eyiyo.
Nungi.
Si yakalimi.
Nungi.
Eno ya digito.
Nungi kubanga ne mu malwaliro tusangayo eza digito.
Kale mugende mu ddwaliro. So fasting is a normalizing agent.
Kati okusiiba kwe kireetera omubiri okubeera mu size ennungi.
Bw'obanga oli munene.
If you're fat.
And you have overweight, fasting of 3 days can normalize your weight. Nova 100 kilograms no jangam 96.
100 and then go back to 96.
Of course, what the more kuliatera irango dayo 100.
So when you eat again, then you go again to 100.
But the good thing is watch the week you ojimala waliwo normal balancing.
At least you spend that week when there is a normal balance.
35 where we stopped. Fasting will aid in the cases of insomnia. Insomnia is a failure to sleep or difficulty in sleeping. Basically, bw'olya ennyo emmere etandika okupayiringa n'ofuna something like we call entumbi, and that entumbi is in there will make sure the digestive system is complicated, so you will not have enough sleep all the time.
nti bw'olya emmere osobola okufuna olubuto n'ofuna accumulated gas, no, and you fail to sleep.
And I warned you yesterday. I've been warning you. You must make sure you are asleep between 2:30 and 4 p.m. every day, because that is the only time the liver works. Go and study the science of the liver. It works between 2:30 a.m. and 4 a.m. And the liver is very, very important to your health. So if it doesn't work on Monday, it doesn't work on Tuesday because you are awake, it doesn't work on Wednesday. Era basula mu overnight mu buli lunaku namwe mulina ekizibu. Bw'olabanga ziweze nga 8 nga weesumagiza bw'oti ng'ogenderayo. Because sincerely the liver must work. The liver must work to protect the body to be healthy. And that is the only time it works in a day. Wednesday, it is okay. It is 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. But if it is a whole week,
some days it's okay, but if it is a week in
kati insomnia tegwe ekufula non-sleeping every day.
Kati insomnia ekubuza otulo buli lunaku.
Ngabe twagenda mu America ne mukyala Mutebi.
Like we went to America with Mrs. Mutebi.
Twamalisa week namanga compete twebaga.
We spent almost a whole week without sleeping.
Because the brain was at Ugandan time.
Banga ngobwongo buli mu ssaawa ze Uganda.
But there is also an American time.
Ate nga waliwo n'eri y'Amerika.
Ate era bwe twakomyewo spend another week nga tuli confused.
And when we came back twamaze week endala nga tuli tetutegeera kye tuliko.
Because by the time we are going to bed, our friends there are waking up. Kakati the brain gets confused.
Now we have gone back to our routine.
So by the time the liver should be working in the system, then
the brain is thinking about America, yet the body is but sleep at that time. Even switch off your phones.
Okay, 36. Fasting, remove the excess starches and the sweets in the body, which many times rust into an alcoholic factory. This mostly causes habitual hunger. Abantu abalina enjala ey'olutentezi nga wakamala okulya enjala ekuluma is because there is an alcoholic factory within your stomach.
If you regularly fall hungry, it means that you have something that produces alcohol in your body.
The sweets you eat and the fats you have, they mingle together, they ferment, and they create alcoholic beverage inside.
Sweetie n'amasavu byolya byegatta wamu ne bitonda ekintu ekiringa omwenge.
Instead of the stomach glands to produce its own liquids to break the food, there is already that acidic alcohol that breaks your food in 30 minutes.
Mu kifo ky'omubiri okutonda ebintu ebyo ebiyamba olubuto okubanga bimenyaamenya emmere, ate omubiri guba gwakoze dda ebiringa omwenge okukosa omubiri gwo.
Jjukira nti omwenge ogusinga gukolebwa because of fermentation.
Most of the alcohol is made out of fermentation.
Bw'osogola omubisi,
when you brew the sweet brew,
ogutaako omuwemba,
and then you add on sorghum,
n'ogubikako ebisubi,
you cover it with grass,
n'oguwa 2 days,
then you give it 2 days,
ne gufermentinga,
it ferments,
ne gufuuka omwenge.
it becomes alcohol.
That is exactly what happens in your stomach.
Ekyo kyennyini kye kibeerawo ne mu mbuto zaffe.
The fermentation of fats and sweets produced alcoholic inside, and they break your food minute by minute, that you are always hungry, even when you have eaten.
Okuvunda kw'ebintu ebyo ebiba mu lubuto bifuuka bireetera ebintu ebyo okufuukamu omwenge ne bireeta asidi mungi nnyo.
Ebuganda tugamba nti omukazi alyanga kisokomi. Mumanye kisokomi?
Kisokomi. Kisokomi. I don't know. I know.
Kisokomi kibanga kivunyuvunyu bwekiti.
Tekyaberanga mu nju z'essubi. Kyekyo kyaberanga mu nju z'essubi.
Alyanga kisokomi. So bw'olaba ng'olina okulyalya amaze okulya lanchi enjala ekuluma, you want to eat again, onywedde kajuice awo otaddeko n'eryenvu, in 2 hours you are hungry again, oliddayo chapati n'olyako n'obuberenge n'okitako n'ebinyeebwa, you are hungry at 5. You have a bit of a brewing company in your stomach.
When you see yourself falling hungry every time you want to eat,
you have Nairo breweries
in
the stomach. You have a Nairo breweries in the stomach. So fasting will remove the excesses of the starches and the sweets together. Because many times they become an alcoholic factory. And when that happens, you'll get what we call habitual hunger. Not normal hunger. Normal hunger at least will take you between 6 to 7 hours. When you eat a good meal, a good breakfast at 8, a piece of bread and a cup of tea, it can take you between 6 to 7 hours before the stomach will tell you, I'm hungry again. That is normal hunger. And when you take lunch between 1 and 2, you might get a cup of tea around 5, like rainbow children. Or you don't have to take that cup of tea, but within 6 to 7 hours, around 8, 9, 7:30, the stomach will tell you, I am hungry again. That is normal hunger. Then when you take your supper around 8 or 9 p.m., because there is not much burning of calories when you are asleep, there is not much energy you are using when you are asleep. And most body parts are asleep. And the brain itself is asleep. You might take 10 hours by that time without being hungry.
But people wake up at midnight when they are feeling hungry. If you have not gone to dig, you have not ridden a border, you have not mopped the house, you have been sleeping. The hunger which has made you to wake up, go to the refrigerator and get something to eat, where do you get it from?
You have Nairo breweries.
Then you will know you have a Nile breweries factory in yourself.
Because mostly hunger comes when the body uses a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of sugars. And the carbohydrates are mostly consumed when you are working. Because every movement you take, there are calories being burnt. Whether you are walking, whether you are typing a computer, whether you are riding a taxi, whether you are selling tomatoes. But somebody who is asleep is actually doing nothing. That's why many times they don't allow us to take a big supper.
Like in 60s, they don't allow us to take big supper.
Era when I'm turning 60 next month, I think one piece of banana is enough.
It's enough for you.
Take a comunyo when oba ettooke lyange eryo ery'empogola nendisalyako ennyaanya nga 2, n'olirya, because emmere eno ebeera mu lubuto nga terina calories burnt ate naye creating more fat.
Because that food that is
Era kyova olaba mu kugejja kwaffe kati ffe mu America ne mu kyama tubadde twebaka bwebazi.
In America with Mrs. Mute we were only sleeping.
Kati olubuto n'ogira nga olubuto lusooka okugejja mpola. So fasting
okusiiba
removes the excesses of the starches.
Kujjamu sitaaki asukkiridde obungi.
And then you get rid of habitual hunger.
Kati n'otandika okuwona enjala eyo ey'olutentezi.
Oba enjala eyo ey'omuze. Ne bw'oba olidde abantu otandika n'okulya omugaati omulama. Nze n'abaana wano bemanya abalya omugaati omulamba.
Yeah, some people I know they eat a whole bread.
Mugaati gwa kiro.
1 kilogram of bread and they
kiro agibbye wali. Nateekako n'ekikopo ky'amata.
With a cup of milk.
37.
Asatu na mushanju.
Fasting will break the bondage of food addiction.
Okusiiba kujja kumenya obusibe okuba food addiction okuba nti omuntu kwegamba ng'olya nnyo emmere oyagala okulya emmere.
Tunuulira kano akantu akasembayo. Food addiction is more dangerous than tobacco.
Nti okulya ennyo emmere kyakabenje nnyo okusinga sigala.
Drugs.
Enjaga.
And alcohol.
Ne omwenge.
Food addiction is even more dangerous than tobacco.
Nti okubanga olya nnyo kyakabenje nnyo n'okusinga sigala.
And the drugs.
N'ebiragalalagala.
And alcohol.
N'omwenge.
When you go into habitual hunger,
kati bw'ogenda mu njala eyo efuuka omuze.
You finally enter into being an addict.
Otandika okuba nti oli addicted.
Emmere yekukontrolinga.
Emmere nga yekufuga.
Mu America emmere yekontrolinga abazungu.
In America it is food that controls the whites.
I normally tell you in Africa,
ntero bagamba nti mu Africa
we eat to live.
Tulya kubeera balamu.
In America,
naye mu America
you live to eat.
Obeerawo kulya.
For us here, we eat so that we may live.
Wano tulya tusobole okubeera abalamu.
For them, they don't eat to live.
Bo tebalya kubeera balamu.
They live to eat.
Bo babeera balamu kweriira.
Banange, they eat.
Those people can eat.
Buli restaurant gy'ogenda.
In every restaurant
ate nawakati bafumba. Buli restaurant gy'ogenda.
Even at home they don't cook. In every restaurant
they live to eat.
Bo babeerawo kulya.
They don't eat banana falls.
Bo tebalya bitooke bye ebigwa.
And so they are also overweight.
Ati ne balyoka bagejjulukuka.
Very overweight.
Ne babeerera ddala banene.
So fasting breaks the bondage of food addiction.
Kati okusiiba kujjawo ekintu ekyo ekyokuba
anything that becomes too much becomes too bad.
Nti ekintu kyonna bwe kiyitirira kifuuka kibi.
Anything that becomes too much becomes an addiction.
Nti bwe kintu kyonna kiyitirira gufuuka omuze.
Womanizing can become an addiction.
Okukwana abakazi kusobola okufuuka omuze.
Alcoholism can become an addiction.
Okunywa omwenge nagwo gusobola okufuuka omuze.
And food can become an addiction.
N'emmere nayo gusobola okufuuka omuze omubi.
So fasting will help you
ati okusiba kujja kukuyamba
to break that bondage.
Okumenya obusibo obwo.
Because when you give your body a break
kubanga omubiri gwo ogw'okuwummula
of 3 days
okw'ennaku essatu
or 4 days
oba 4
or 5 days,
oba 5,
that addiction is broken.
kati ogw'omuze gumenyebwa.
But the stomach and the brain will always tell you, please eat, please eat. Some of you, when you are fasting, you even hide and take a glass of tea, a glass of juice.